graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
Making pancakes. Take some bacon out, put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Making pancakes. Take some bacon out, put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes. Making pancakes. Take some bacon out, put it in a pancake. Bacon pancakes, that's what it's gonna make. Bacon pancakes.
Oh my! Hello, my fellow Earthlings. This is Hikaru Sulu. You may remember me as the helmsman for the Starship Enterprise. You know, I don't usually listen to podcasts, but when I do, it's two strangers, one podcast. Chris and Paul make me feel like I have a tribble in my pants. Set phases to sexy. Suck it, Shatner.
Well, hello and welcome to Two Strangers, One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
And boy, it's just a fucking geeky week, one thing after another. Well, no, it's okay. First and foremost, you lucky bastard, you get to interview the guys from the Megas XLR on your other show. 2 seconds into our podcast, we're going to talk about another podcast. Your other podcast, the Tsunami Faithful podcast, actually did a
drunk interview.
a Megas XLR 10th year anniversary reunion. And anyone who listens to the show knows how much I love that show. I even called in on Skype like 2 minutes before the actual interview, like hoping I could edge my way in there. Like, oh, maybe they'll let me. So definitely, if you haven't heard it yet, go check it out. And then I guess because the guys recorded their usual podcast, like you guys usually record Sunday nights.
Yeah.
And so there was the usual podcast, and then there was the interview. So, but it's just there's a million fucking geeky things coming up this week. Well, as of today, and we'll get back to this on a second, but just to bring up a few things, we got Spider-Man because we're recording this on the 1st of May. Technically tonight, if I'm not mistaken, there is the preview, and we'll get deeper into that in a second. That's what she said. You know. You got Free Comic Book Day coming up this Saturday, which is the 3rd. So, you know, definitely go out and support your local comic book store. Now, don't get me wrong. It's Free Comic Book Day, people. But God damn it, while you're there to get your free comic books, pull out your fucking cash and buy some comic books. Don't just get the free ones. Don't just show up and say, where are the free comics? And then, you know, then walk out the door. Don't be a fucking piece of shit. Go out and support your local comic book store like we do every episode. We support our local comic book store, Comics Etc. on Main Street here in Rochester. And also, to kind of bring us to our first topic, May the 4th, which is an unofficial nerd holiday. When you say May the 4th, it almost sounds like May the Force be with you. May the 4th be with you. May the 4th is unofficially Star Wars Day. And I think in anticipation of Star Wars Day, they have had tons of information to release this week. And let's get right into it. I am so fucking excited.
Yes. I guess I can take it from here because I have it right up in front of me.
Yeah, because you were going to talk about the actual casting. You had the information.
Yes. So they announced that they were going to make an announcement on May the 4th, and then all of a sudden, the day after, they're like, "Oh, by the way, here's the cast." I'm like, "Okay, wait a minute. So you have an announcement on the May 4th, but then you have you're announcing the cast now. I have no idea what you're announcing on May 4th, so whatever." So basically, rumors are true. The old cast, which is Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill, will be back along with Anthony Daniels, Peter Mayhew. I said that wrong. Kenny Baker is also back.
R2-D2. Which is weird because R2-D2 is just like it's a midget. It's a little person in a suit, and really all he does is turn the head. Like he's not really okay. But go on. I'm sorry.
Okay, so the views of Chris Cologne. No, okay. John, let's see. The new actors that are coming into this are John Boyega. Did I say that right? I hope I did.
I have honestly of all the Star Wars nerd news that just came out this week, I have no idea about the casting. So when I'm hearing it,
well, if I said it wrong, I apologize. But whatever, I'm reading it. Daisy Riddle, Idell, or something like that. Mm-hmm. Adam Driver, Oscar Isaac. Andy Serkis.
Oh, Andy Serkis. That's like the one. Okay, that's the one I'm definitely familiar with. Andy Serkis is the guy who has done all the motion capture for Gollum and the Lord of the Rings movies. He's the guy. He's behind the motion capture performance for Caesar and the Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and Rise of the Planet of the Apes, whichever those the one that's about to come out and the one that came out like 2 years ago. Andy Serkis, and because these are all those Peter Jackson. Those are all Peter Jackson. Well, not Rise of Planet of the Apes, but they brought him in because he was also the motion capture for King Kong in the Peter Jackson's remake of King Kong. So, I mean, seeing that these movies are obviously there's going to be a shit ton of CGI, having Andy Serkis, I mean, I'm glad for him. I'm just saying, is it like, it's almost like, oh shit, no, it's like almost no surprise that he's going to be in this movie but they're probably going to give him a big role, you know what I'm saying? Because if they're announcing him as part of the cast, it's probably,
he's got to be like part of the
funky
cast.
Looking. It's gonna be some weird looking alien. It has to be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have no idea, but
it's another Chewbacca. What else? And then there's two other people. I cannot pronounce this guy's name, and I don't really.
Okay, let's see. Peter May. Oh, I don't know. I'm looking it up myself or whatever because I know they've released one picture that it's been all over my Facebook page that
Let me see.
From Pinewood Studios.
I think it's Domhnall Gleeson.
Domhnall Gleeson. Okay.
It's Domhnall and then Gleeson. And then there's Max von Sydow.
Oh, Max von Sydow. He's
yeah.
And that's guy's been he's been in films. For...
I really fucked up these names. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What kind of Jesus Christ, Paul? What kind of nerdy? Okay, yeah. So what I'm looking at right now is obviously the picture that I'm looking at, the cast announced. Okay, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher. They're all reprising their roles. They've announced this a while back that it is taking place like 30 some odd years after the last movie, so they really don't have to do that much makeup, when aging the characters. Okay. I don't know who John Boyega is. I don't know who Daisy Ridley is. I don't know who Adam Driver is. I see what you're saying. Yeah, Dom Gleeson. Max von Sydow, he's been he's an older guy. You know who Max von Sydow was? He was in the original Judge Dredd. He was the judge that had to walk the cursed earth. That old guy. So hopefully, they'll have him as some sort of old Jedi or old Sith or something like that. Because remember, I mean, they brought Christopher Lee in for the other movies, and Christopher Lee is from that generation of old school actors, where he can play an older character. And the same thing like in the original trilogy when you had Alec Guinness, where you got to bring some old actors in for some cred. So I mean, Peter Mayhew, the guy who plays Chewbacca, that's going to be interesting because he can barely walk now. And don't get me wrong, I want him to live as long as he possibly can, but I hope this guy makes it through all the the next three movies, because Chewbacca is one of those characters. I mean, yes, they can easily get another tall person, they can make CGI Chewbacca if they really wanted to. But I mean, Peter Mayhew is part of that universe. They're probably good. But then again, I mean, with editing and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure they could, Chewbacca's not going to be doing very much running around. Chewbacca, because recently I know Peter Mayhew, there was some uproar where he was one of the people pulled over for not pulled over when you travel on an airplane and they search you and people were searching and fans are like, it's fucking Chewbacca, you can't what do you I promise you he doesn't have a fucking bomb on him. He may have a bow and arrow thing that shoots lasers or something, but he's not going to have bombs on him. I know some of these characters. I think one of them is a character from the show Girls that's on HBO. I'm not too familiar with. And then also, I mean, we might have mentioned this in the past. It's being written by Lawrence Kasdan. And for those who don't know, Lawrence Kasdan was basically the guy who wrote The Empire Strikes Back, which, in my opinion, of all the 6 movies that already exist, is the best one. So the fact that they're bringing in Lawrence Kasdan and J.J. Abrams, honoring, respecting the history of Star Wars, it's gonna fucking rock. It really is. Now, I'm just waiting for, because remember, when they announced the original original prequel trilogy, before we knew they were going to suck. They had all these pictures of Darth Maul. Like, Darth Maul was the face, really. I mean, yeah, they said, oh, here's young Anakin. I guess, if they wanted to market to the kids, they had the little Anakin with the pod racing helmet and the goggles and stuff like that. But, for all of us grown-ups, we were so excited when we saw Darth Maul, because he was like this weird, badass, cool-looking guy with fucking red and black on his face and horns and a fucking double-sided lightsaber. And we were, that definitely gave me a nerd boner. So I am waiting for them to, of course they had to fucking kill it and kill off Darth Maul in the first movie, because they could have easily brought him back, which, well, I'll get to that in a second. But, and then they had, General Grievous, which, he looked cool.
Right.
So I'm waiting for that first, like, cool picture. Like, they have to, I guarantee you heard it here now, they're going to, like, wait till they start marketing. The marketing is, they have to show some cool looking villain. I guarantee you that's how the marketing campaign is going to start. Something that can easily be translated into a toy, something that's going to catch everyone's attention, and I can't wait for it. I'm so excited.
Well, it should be interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see what news comes up. I'm waiting to see what this news is on the 4th, because it should be interesting.
Now they said,
no, go ahead.
Well, okay. They say this. They're looking to release it December 18th, 2015. So we're a year and a half away, which makes sense or whatever. I'm pretty sure all the actual filming between the human being actors is probably going to get done very quick, and the rest is going to be all CGI. But if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be the first Star Wars movie that isn't released in May. Every single Star Wars movie from the end, not being like a re-release or in 3D or special edition. I believe every Star Wars movie was always kind of released in May, because they were always set up to be like summer blockbusters. But then again, I think this is the Disney influence, where they're releasing it right before Christmas, because this is December 18th next year. So, you're going to see the marketing campaign, they're going to blow up Comic-Con. Comic-Con's going to be, that's going to be probably awash in fucking Star Wars stuff. There's going to be tons of pictures of whatever the cool looking villain is going to be. And they're marketing this for Christmas, which is odd, because they've always released in May. So I'm kind of like, I think that's the Disney influence, because, there's always like the family movies that come out that do well around Christmas time. So I think Disney said, fuck you, fuck May. We're going to release this in Christmas, because we want to sell toys. We want to sell t-shirts. We want to sell fucking, lunch boxes. So God damn it, we're putting this out on Christmas. So, like 7 days before Christmas. So like not everyone's had a chance to find out that it sucks.
True.
You've already bought the dolls. You already bought all the toys. You already done. Your kids already been brainwashed to buy all the shit.
Yeah.
And you realize, oh, it sucks. It's too late to return all that shit. But
I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what happens on May 4th.
Now, what I've read, and hopefully, I don't know how true this is. I believe the title has been released, but this is, I don't know, I didn't get this from a reliable source. So I believe it's going to be called Order of the Jedi, which I guess makes sense. I mean, it's been 30 years since the end of the movie. Maybe they've had a chance to kind of look around and see if there were any more Jedi left. I mean, I guess, the original, from, the prequels, in episode 3, there was Order 66, which basically had all the Imperial guards, Imperial soldiers kill all the, what was, the Republic guards, which eventually turned into the Imperial guards, killing off the Jedi. But, obviously the way these are all started, they didn't kill all the Jedi. I mean, even, what they're going to be releasing in Star Wars Rebels, I'm pretty sure there's some Jedis that escaped. I'm pretty sure there were some Jedis that were in hiding. I'm pretty sure there were some Jedis that, weren't recognized as Jedis. People born with force powers that were, they weren't picked up by the Jedi Academy yet. And so the rumor I heard is that it's going to be called Order of the Jedi. I guess we'll probably find that out, the official answer, on May the 4th. So that means, probably in the past 30 years, Luke has had a chance to mature and become, a Jedi master, and actually get to the point where he starts training people, and remember, Leia is his sister. She should technically have all the same powers he does. She just was never trained. So Leia might be a Jedi master or a Jedi Knight also. I mean, let's not.
Yeah, we'll see. It depends on
running around flipping and shit, but
it depends on what kind of side story stories they take up, because you got to remember, like, there are like tons of different side stories, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
you know,
Now, here's another bit of news, and I'm totally stealing this from the AMC. It was AMC did a thing about talking about this, but it was an announcement that there are 1 billion books out there. The Star Wars expanded universe.
right?
Walk into any fucking bookstore, and there's literally a section for Star Wars books.
Oh yeah,
Not just when you go into the sci-fi section, but even the sci-fi section has its own. You could walk into a store right now, and I'm not even exaggerating. You could walk out with 50 to 60 Star Wars books, if you had the money. And now what Lucasfilm, or the new entity that it is what it is, has released, that all of those books have been thrown out the window. The only and there's, with a few exceptions, everything that has kind of anything that's ever been in a video game, like Knights of the Old Republic or X-Wing versus, TIE Fighter, or any of that, all of that has been thrown out the window. Technically, that was never canon. That was never officially. The only things that were considered canon was stuff that you saw in the movies. Now, they've released a new thing saying that now they are officially recognizing Star Wars: The Clone Wars as being canon, meaning anything that has happened in that animated series, and I'm assuming they're talking about the CGI one, not the Brandon Tartovsky one.
I would hope so.
Anything that happened in that series is now officially part of the Star Wars universe. Now, earlier I mentioned Darth Maul, and it's not really a spoiler alert. If you're into this stuff, you already know that in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, Darth Maul comes back. So it is very easy. It's a very possible situation that they could bring Darth Maul back. It's a new funky Darth Maul with robot legs. I mean, then they also kind of have to explain where he's been for.
They kind of explain that in Clone Wars, actually. Basically, like, if I remember correctly, basically, like, what happened was is somehow he ended up on a planet, and his brother, so to speak, which isn't his brother, it's just his clan, basically.
Yeah, another guy from his.
I can't think of what her name was, but she, there's this sorceress that made his brother, which is in the same clan, like Darth Maul. And basically, she was trying to kill Count Dooku, and, well, it failed miserably. And, basically, she sent him to go find Darth Maul so that they could still enact revenge.
Yeah, Savage. Something Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically what happened is, sorry for spoilers, but he finds him on this planet, somehow brings him back, because I guess he's in this crazy state, and he's about to kill his brother there, and he somehow, like, I think it's, like, if I remember correctly, the sorceress gave him, like, some kind of thing that put him back, brought him back to. Oh, no! I remember now. He brought him back to the planet where the sorceress was, and she, I guess, healed him, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get what the story you're saying, but I mean, for all the years of the Star Wars movies, because the last time we see him is in the Clone Wars before, technically it's before Episode 3.
Right.
So between Episode 3 and Episode 7, I mean, I'm pretty sure they have a million side stories, but that's what I'm talking about. I mean, I know that from the years between Episode 1 and Episode 3 that they explained it in Clone Wars where he's been, but now they have to explain again where he went, and of course, I'm pretty sure they could tie it in. They could tie it in all together. But yeah, I remember, and I actually looked at it real quick. His brother's name was Savage Opress. Like, these people don't even get creative with the names anymore. Savage Opress, like General Grievous. Like, they just give up on names. They're like, oh, hi, the next in Episode 7 it's going to be, hi, I'm evil bad guy. That's my name. They get a little more creative with these names, man. So so like I was saying before, anything from this point on, including the Clone Wars and also including the upcoming Star Wars Rebels, which I'm pretty sure you've seen the concept art for.
Yes, I've seen it.
It looks
Steve Bloom is part of we're talking about Star Wars Rebels here?
Yeah, Star Wars
Rebels,
part of
that. So is Freddie Prinze Jr., which a lot of people, like, back in the 90s will go, Freddie Prinze Jr. But you gotta understand, like, in the voice acting industry, he's pretty good. And apparently he worked on WWE, from what I heard.
WWE? Freddie Prinze Jr.?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently he wrote for 2 years. He wrote scripts for the WWE for 2 years, so.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I was like, really? Like, yeah, I was like, oh.
All right, he's earned a couple more points, geek cred. I guess, it's kind of hard to, take him seriously after he was, like, kind of like pretty boy, teen pretty boy in the 90s, but I can't stay that way forever. So basically, they said that the extended, and from this point on, when they do release a book, when there is something or video game or now there's actually someone that's going to sit there and go, no, like if it does, because trust me, I must have read about 30 to 40 books while I was in high school that were all like Star Wars related, and each of those books contradicted each other. There was one story that said C-3PO was 1,200 years old. And there's stories, where it's not even like science fiction. They kind of like a lot more fantasy. Because back in those days, in the 90s, before they started revamping, the whole Enterprise, they were just letting anybody write a book. Anybody who had like a science fiction, any kind of science fiction writer could have easily went up, wrote their own book, and some were good. Anybody who's ever read the books, Timothy Zahn, who did a great trilogy called The Heir to the Empire, which is what a lot of people were hoping that the next trilogy was going to be, because this takes place after the movies, and there's like this blue alien named Grand Admiral Thrawn, and he has all the Imperial spaceships and like the ones that like weren't blown up in the war, and he's kind of starting like his own new empire, and the Emperor has clones. Like the Emperor, like they didn't know that the Emperor had like cloned himself a million times, so there's like a billion fucking emperors floating around. It's a real weird series, but it's actually very well written, and a lot of people like that series. So now what they said in Star Wars is, and then also one of the main characters that a lot of people were hoping is going to be in the next movie that was kind of brought up in this extended universe is a character named Mara Jade, which basically is this redheaded Jedi who basically becomes Luke Skywalker's wife. So what they said was, in the future, we may see characters from the extended universe, but all that shit that has happened before it's not canon. It doesn't exist. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't bring in Mara Jade. That doesn't mean they won't bring in Grand Admiral Thrawn. But if you do see them now, we're like the audience as a whole it's going to be reintroduced. You don't have to go back and read those books and say, oh, here's their origin. No, that's not the case. They may bring them. And like I said, I think there's so much fan pushback that I think there is going to be Mara Jade to be Luke Skywalker's, hot redheaded Jedi, badass warrior chick. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But so basically now, if you read a book or you play a video game or you do anything else, the extended universe, it's going to tie into the main universe, which I think is awesome. So is that everything we have on Star Wars?
Yeah, I think that's everything we have on Star Wars.
Sorry to interrupt the show, people, but what had happened is Paul and I have kind of gotten to a topic that was a little touchy, a little personal, and Paul requested that we don't play it on the episode, so we're just going to skip right past that and go to the next topic.
I think that's all I really want to say about it.
I got you.
Really,
and if the time comes, to lighten the mood a little bit, the time comes and you're ready to go out and fucking socialize, dude, I got your fucking back. I'll be your fucking wingman. And the whole point of having a wingman is because there's always when there's girls that go out, there's the cute one and then there's the fat one or the ugly one, I guess, or whichever one. There's a cute one and the ugly one. They travel in packs. They always travel in twos. Always two there. Right. The master and the apprentice. So what happens is you need a guy like me where I will talk to the fat friend or I will talk to the ugly one, because there's always that one girl that says, oh, we came together, we're gonna leave together. So I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna jump on that grenade for you, bro. That's how I got your back. I will go out and I will fuck as many fat ugly as I have to, so you can go and if it does come to that situation, I know you want to be with her, but if that doesn't happen, I got your back. We'll fucking go hit the town, even though I don't drink, and that's even better, so I could pretend like I'm fucking drinking.
To be honest with you, after this,
podcast edit, people, here's some more stuff that Paul didn't want you to hear, so we're gonna skip right over it.
Go from there. But I think we need to go to a commercial break because I need to have a couple minutes here.
Yeah. And to quote Alfred from Batman: The Dark Knight Rises, why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves back up. And
or to quote Toonami, fall 7 times, pick ourselves up 8.
Exactly. And so we'll be right back with more dick and fart jokes.
This episode of Two Strangers, One Podcast is brought to you by Comics Etc., 1115 East Main and North Goodman at the Hungerford Building, door number 8. Find out more information at comicsetc.biz or like them on Facebook at facebook.com/comicsetc1.
Click and Hit, enhancing the experience for all recreational smokers. Click and Hit is a one-handed portable vaporizer. This smoking pipe has a compact 4-stage design, complete with a built-in, windproof, butane refillable torch lighter. The large burn chamber holds your stash of legal herb or pipe tobacco. Click the button to ignite and inhale as usual. When you are done, put it back in your pocket for later. Smoke anytime with the touch of a button. No more carrying around grinders and tins. Pipe, rolling papers, and even your lighter at home. The Click and Hit cordless vaporizer is no bigger than a normal cigar, making it the world's smallest and most discreet vaporizer. It's perfect for use in small places or shared rooms. It's efficient, getting 5 to 8 draws from your packed chamber. It's affordable at just $19.95 each. Buy 3 and the shipping is free. Buy 4 and you get the 5th one free. Visit www.click-n-hit.com. That's clickandhit.com.
And now for listeners of Two Strangers One Podcast, you can use promo code STRANGERS and receive 10% off your purchase at clickandhit.com. That's promo code STRANGERS for 10% off your purchase.
And we're back. So we took a little break, but we're back, and let's go right to another gigantic, epic franchise series that's been cock teasing us since for the past couple of months. X-Men: Days of Future Past. Oh no, what am I saying? No, we're not going to talk about that right now. Let's talk about.
We can talk about X-Men real quick.
Let's talk about the other team comic book hero movie. Oh no, one of the other comic book team hero. No, but okay. Days of now it's funny, while we were on the break, you were kind of like looking at some videos, and they are releasing a shit ton of fucking videos. And now, don't get me wrong, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, I think the movie's still gonna rock. Right. And hopefully they're not giving us the best stuff. I purposely don't watch them because there's certain things I don't want spoiled, even though, spoiler alert, and I'm not gonna say what happened, only because if you don't want to know, I shouldn't be the one to spoil it to you. But they do kind of explain how Professor X, the young Professor X, is walking, and how the older Professor X is in a wheelchair. So that's like the one video I saw, and it wasn't a major spoiler, but I'm not going to be that guy and spoil it for you guys. But yeah, they are releasing a shit ton of videos. I think if you put all the videos together, you could probably watch a good 10 minutes of the movie or something.
Well, it should be interesting. I'm really looking forward to this because Bryan Singer and X-Men is awesome. Minus the little thing that might be going on, but
hopefully it's
just a rumor. Yeah, hopefully it's bogus. Hopefully it's just a rumor, but whatever.
But you were mentioning before the show, you had said something about Hugh Jackman.
Wait a minute. What? Okay. Did I just see that? Sorry, I'm in the middle of a podcast and I see like this Vanilla Ice thing come up with his Go Ninja, Go Ninja, Go.
Oh yeah, I saw that in a commercial. I think they brought that back for a commercial.
So are they using that in the movie?
No, I think they're kind of just, it's some other company using that.
That's funny. Well, at least he's making his money.
Yeah, I mean, now that Ninja Turtles are coming back together. I mean, it's might as well. Shit. Let me see. For Mac. Oh, that's what it is. For macaroni and cheese. Go Ninja Go. Yeah, it's a commercial for Kraft macaroni and cheese. That's because since he did the song for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. I would love to know if he's going to be doing that one too or not.
No, he's
like. I don't mean like being in it, but like if they brought back the song, that'd be pretty awesome. Even though it's a hilarious song.
Well, I think it's Kraft. I believe it's Kraft macaroni and cheese is using the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles shapes, and so because Vanilla Ice, don't get me wrong, I know we're skewing way off topic, but he has like a show on like the Home and Garden channel where he does home renovations, and I thought it was a joke. Like he has a show on right now, or had a show in the past like 2 or 3 years where it's him and a couple other people are like vanilla. Imagine you have so much money. I mean, not that he's probably charging a lot, but imagine you go and Vanilla Ice comes to your house to do your drywall. Right. That's gotta suck to be like famous and then like not. I mean, of course they got cameras following the show, so he's probably getting.
Oh yeah, he's making a shit ton of money, dude. Like he's not stupid. Like he knows. Like he can. Look, I know we're coming away from X-Men, but we'll bring it back in here in a minute. That's what she said. But basically, like, come on, these older like wrestlers, for example, and artists that had these songs back in the day, they're no fucking idiot. They can make a shit ton of money off their shit now.
Mhm.
So why not do it if you can do it,
And here we are talking about it, and Kraft is laughing all the way to the bank because we're talking about it, and then we're mentioning the beautiful and delicious Kraft macaroni and cheese. Who doesn't like Kraft macaroni and cheese? Go to your local Walmart and pick out some Kraft macaroni and cheese. Not giving me my money. Hey, if they're gonna throw Vanilla Ice a couple bucks, they could throw us a couple bucks.
Yeah.
You could buy comic books, a weed pipe, and macaroni and cheese. Actually, those things kind of go together. Think about it. You get really smoked up, you read the comic books, and you get the munchies and eat the macaroni and cheese.
Jesus.
So okay, X-Men.
Speaking of X-Men, let's get
you were
back to
talking
X-Men.
about you had mentioned before the show something about Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman basically.
Hugh
I
Jackman.
guess he's.
He's huge
Shut
and
up.
it's jacking. I'm sorry.
But you're such a fucking asshole. But anyways, like Hugh Jackman before X-Men Days of Future Past was putting doubt on the fact that he was going to be Wolverine still. He was going to, retain his role, so to speak, as Wolverine. And he's saying it again. He's saying it again in an interview again. Basically, he's not saying like he's not going to do it, but basically like what he said, and he said to it looks like SFX, whatever that is. I don't know what that is, so I'm not familiar. I apologize if I'm saying something stupid and you want to kill me now. But he said to them, "I'm excited to see what we can come up with, but I haven't signed on. I'm generally at the point where unless it's better than the one, I'm not going to do it." So he's casting doubt. He's casting a little doubt on him doing Wolverine again unless it's epic. And then when he's asked about the story, he says, "I don't know yet. We're talking it through. I am very ambitious for the character, and tonally I feel like we corrected the ship with the last one, but I feel we can still go further in a way. If I did another one, I'm 99.9% sure it would be my last, so that will inform what it is for me." So it looks like he's up to maybe doing just one more and then being done, but I'm kind of hoping that that's not the case. Like, I'm hoping that he's just like...
I think this is a plot just to get more money.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because, okay, here they go. They've announced, or they kind of teased that they're going to do X-Men Apocalypse, which, once again, you heard it here first, I am predicting is going to be the end of comic book movies. It is going to be the end of good comic book movies. And as much as I'm hoping and I'm loving that I want the Marvel Universe to do just fine, I think X-Men Apocalypse is going to be the last. It's going to be the movie that puts the nail in the coffin. The bubble's going to burst, and it's going to be the end of good comic book movies. And I don't know what the hell we're going to podcast about after that. We're going to be podcasting about fucking
Justice League.
Cupcake recipes.
We'll get to that in a minute.
And so with that being said, I think since he knows, because I believe they're playing with the idea of doing another Wolverine movie, but I mean, since they've already
supposed to be, yeah, it's already, yeah, it's supposed to come out. It looks like third one is already listed. I think it's good. Okay, so it looks like the third movie is supposed to be out March 3rd of 2017. So they're going to do Apocalypse first. Mm-hmm. There hasn't been any mention of him in there, but I would think that after you form the X-Men in the past, you would still be a part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. He knows the run is coming to an end.
And even Patrick Stewart, who is Professor Xavier in the future, mm-hmm. has indicated that God, I lost my train of thought. That basically he could be in this next film. So that would be interesting too to see if he is.
Mm-hmm. Well, see, remember, I mean, now you made me lose my train of thought. The X-Men, I mean, even in freaking X-Men First Class, which technically in that movie had nothing to do with Wolverine, they still had Wolverine in it. You know what I'm saying? They snuck Wolverine in the movie, even if it was for 2 seconds, and he told them to go fuck themselves. He is that whole franchise. I mean, right. So even though they did an excellent movie with X-Men First Class, they still had to stick him in there. So I think if they're doing their swan song, last X-Men movie, hopefully Bryan Singer isn't up on charges, and they do the Apocalypse movie.
Hopefully Bryan Singer's not up on charges.
Yeah, I mean, let's be realistic here. But if they do it, you can't have an X-Men movie without Wolverine. I mean, of course, I mean, you could. But I'm just saying I think this is just a ploy that you see the end coming, and he says, you know what? I'm gonna fucking cash in. These guys are making big money. you know, I want my fucking cut.
Here's one thing that's funny is like Bryan Singer left X-Men to do the Superman Returns. Now, shut up. Now, me and Jose can speak for himself. He's on the Toonami Faithful podcast. This is one of the things we actually agree on. We think that Superman Returns was a good movie. And I actually saw it the other day. And, you know, after you see it after a couple times, you kind of analyze and say, okay, was this a good movie? Was this not a good movie? And to me, it was a good movie. But, you know, you look at, like, the Superman that just came out, and you're just like, okay, this is two flips of a coin. Now, the Superman that just came out was more like, I guess, how do I put it? More of a reality? Could be more of a reality than what the Superman that we saw in Superman Returns. Because that Superman Returns was kind of like the following a set of Superman movies that was already set. And I believe, was there 4 or 5 of those? I don't remember. Of the original.
There was 1, 2, there was
1, 2, 3, and 4. But I don't know if there was a 5 or 6.
No, there was technically 4. But even Bryan Singer said we're ignoring the fact that 4 happened. And actually, I think he wanted to ignore 3 too. 3 also. Well, I think this is supposed to take place after part 2.
If I remember correctly, wasn't 3 the one where he was with Lana? I want to say that. We're gonna have to look this up and talk about it on the next podcast. But
I mean, they were just. I mean, the last 2. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I was a kid, I loved
basically Superman really Returns. Yeah, Superman Returns kind of picks up where after 2 because
if I'm not mistaken, because the first 2 were very serious and taken
because if I remember, Lois Lane wasn't in the 3rd one.
No,
if I remember correctly, and I don't think she was in the 4th one either.
No.
Because if I'm correct, I want to say, what was the one where it wasn't Lex Luthor? It was somebody else that made like a super villain.
Oh no, it was Lex Luthor. But he's like in the movie for like 5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like, we're gonna have to talk about this on the next podcast. Like, you know, I have to sit here and like just figure out. I have to think about it. But you know, I thought it was a good stepping stone into having Son of Superman kind of movies and having that kind of dynamic. So I wasn't looking at it as, okay, well, it's got to be the best thing that I've ever seen and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, I don't remember what his name is that was the guy that played Superman, but...
Brandon Roth?
Brandon Roth, yes. But damn, you should have kept Brandon Roth. I'm sorry. Like,
no, I agree with you. I had no problem with the actor.
Yeah.
You know, and I had no problem with... I thought Kevin Spacey as a choice for Lex Luthor was
that was
an incredible idea. I just think the execution, you know what I'm saying? I just think it was a poorly written script. It was you know what, we put kryptonite in the water and it makes a kryptonite island and what? You know, I understand these movies are going to add a little something that doesn't always exist in the comics, but come on, you know, like that was just I don't know. We're gonna make Kryptonite Island. That's all I remember. Kryptonite Island. And
but you know what?
He picks up the when a tiny rock of kryptonite is supposed to be crippling to him, like the size of a coal, fucking cripples him into the ground. But he picks up a whole Kryptonite Island. You know, he's that powerful. And it's like, oh come on.
But you know, I think this is a good time to segue into the fact that Zack Snyder has been announced as the man that will be doing Justice League. As you know, he's doing the Batman versus Superman movie, so you know,
as
naturally
on this podcast,
right? And as we predicted, there's going to be a Justice League movie, which we knew they were going in that direction. I'm a little bit happier that we now have like this. Okay, they're saying now that this, and I'm going to look it up real quick, but if I'm correct, I believe they said that this Batman versus Superman is going to lead into the Justice League movie.
Yeah,
thumbs up to me.
If I'm not, and
let me get the correct quote. Excuse my language, or excuse me because I can't fucking speak for some odd reason. Superman versus Batman will lead into Justice League. That's the direct quote from the president of Worldwide Production, Greg Silverman. Mm-hmm. So he also said it'll be a further expansion of the universe. So let me see. Oh, there's an update here. Yeah. Oh, it's okay. The Hollywood Reporter is actually reporting that Batman versus Superman and Justice League will shoot back to back.
Yep, that's what I was about to add.
Yeah. So then we may see that latter as early as 2017. So, you know, I'm I'm looking forward to seeing this happen, you know?
Mhm.
And it's going to be interesting to see how they put all this together. I think we finally got an answer to, that this is going to happen at the end of Batman versus Superman, where we start to see the Justice League.
Yeah. Well, they were talking about Wonder Woman and now, I mean, well, I'm about to get into that. They announced the cyborg actor. They were introducing,
which is really interesting, by the way, because they're kind of following what Justice League War, that 52 comic book series, kind of.
Yeah, because Justice League War, which I guess we'll get into a little. Well, Justice League War is based on the New 52. Once DC rebooted everything, Justice League War is kind of like the first, and I've actually read the first few Justice League comics, where they were tying everything together. So yeah, this is going to be the Justice League based on the New 52 universe of DC, basically. But because they announced the actor, his name is Ray Fisher, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen anything this guy is in. Apparently, he's played Muhammad Ali, and he's done theater, but one thing I have to say is, holy shit, did they find a guy that looks like Cyborg? I am like, that alone, because the Cyborg has a special place in my heart. I kind of like the character. I mean, obviously, we're for those of us from our generation, we were introduced to him in the Teen Titans cartoon, but I kind of went back to like 1982, 1983. I have like his origin comic. I have a bunch of his stuff. Cyborg is a great character that I think has been underused, and hopefully, this will change that. But this guy, holy shit, he looks just like Cyborg. I am so fucking happy. I mean, just on with all the other casting decisions they put in this movie. I mean, I don't have anything against Ben Affleck, but Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was kind of like, what? And all this shit. This is the first one where I'm totally 100% behind.
And I gotta say, for the record, I hope they don't do this fucked up like Justice League, where we have like different, like weird, like looking, like we have like the obscure ones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Cyborg. Okay, fine, I can take Cyborg. That's fine. It's kind of it's in the comic book. They can use it. Why not? But like, for example, I want the originals. Obviously Wonder Woman's going to be in. I want to see Aquaman. I want to see Flash. I want to see Green Lantern. I want to see Hawkman, and I definitely want to see Martian Manhunter. I think you need to do it with that kind of core group first, and then move it out into other superheroes as well.
Shazam and
They've been actually trying to bring Shazam more out into the light, and I understand that they want to do that, but Shazam is more of a kid's character,
Yeah. Well, I just brought that up just to kind of that they are kind of if they get into the weird ones, because people kind of know Flash, people know Green Lantern.
But if you've seen the if you've seen Justice League War. Mm-hmm. Him as a kid is not he's kind of a dickhead, and he kind of I don't think he swore at all, but I was sitting there going, I hope no kids are watching this. I hope not. If you see Son of Batman, oh my god.
We'll get
into that. We'll get into that.
Other episode.
Yeah, we'll get into that in just a minute. But I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm excited to see that Warner Brothers is taking this with care and doing this the right way. Again, I hope they don't jump the gun and just be like halfway through the movie, 50 heroes come flying in.
No, I think this is going, kind of like what I predicted. Because you said we have to have this movie first, then we can have a Justice League. I said that, all the extra characters, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, if they have a Flash, if they have a Green Lantern, if they have all these other people, and I just say if only because they haven't announced it yet. But when they have those characters I think are not going to be until the end of the movie. It's not going to be till Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill stop fighting, and he goes, oh, well, by the way, I have a satellite up in the sky, and here's everybody else.
Right. Well, I'm not saying that I don't think that what I was saying is what I was worried about, I guess is the best thing to say. I was worried about the fact that they were trying to, and at least from appearances, try to make Batman and Superman the Justice League movie. And and I'm just speculating here, I don't know this for sure, but I think what they did was they moved the 2015 date back to 2016 because they saw a lot of people on Twitter and everybody saying, is it Batman versus Superman or Justice League, basically?
Mhm.
And I think that when they saw that, they went, okay, we need to do a Justice League movie, and we need to make sure that we do things the right way, not do this the wrong way. Because, again, and you agree with me, it's got to be, from what I've seen in comic books and what I've seen, on animated adventures, it always started with Batman and Superman.
Mhm.
Batman had the Watchtower. He built it from Wayne Technology, and he also built the building, the Justice League building that's on the ground too, as well. I would assume.
Yeah.
I would assume at some point. But you have that, and then Superman comes in. They beat each other's ass. Realize what the hell are we doing, and then
Let's fight together.
Exactly. And go ahead.
No, well, see, because we get a little bit of a flavor of the characters probably at the end of Batman versus Superman. Then we have a Justice League movie, and then DC can do what it's been trying to do for a minute and take on the Marvel movies, where we'll have a Wonder Woman movie, we'll have a Cyborg movie, because once you have a full-on Justice League movie and everybody by that time becomes familiarized with the characters, you can have a Wonder Woman movie. We can get the movie that we've been, people have been clamoring for years. I certainly hope and pray that they do a Cyborg movie, so that, I mean, of course, Flash and Green Lantern, however they want to handle that, Green Lantern kind of already had his shot, but, they revive, hey, how many fucking Hulks did we have, and then they could give the Flash a proper movie, and then DC could do what Marvel's been doing, where, fuck you, we have all these guys, we want money too, goddammit. So,
right.
So, hopefully it'll once we get a taste of the characters in these two movies, they can build the franchise from there. And so it's not all about Batman and Superman.
But speaking of Batman, let's get into our last real topic for right now.
Yeah, well, actually, I just real quick.
Yes.
Joe Quesada, one of the he's not the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics, but he's definitely high up there. I think at one point he was the editor-in-chief. Now I believe his new title is, director of media or something to that effect, which basically means he's in charge of all the TV shows with Marvel. And the past week he did an episode of Fat Man on Batman with Kevin Smith, and now of course it's Fat Man on Batman, and
right.
The show is about Batman, but they the conversation kind of veered off into what did you think of the Man of Steel movie? And Joe Quesada basically said, if you really watch the movie, he goes, General Zod is the good guy in that movie. Like Superman is the dick, because did you see Man of Steel or no?
I saw pretty much like the last 10-15 minutes of it, but
it's one of those deals where Superman, because on Krypton people don't have natural childbirth anymore, and people are born in fucking little bubbles, which looks like a total ripoff of the Matrix. And so like Superman or Kal-El, whatever you want to call him, is like the last natural born Kryptonian. And with that being said, he has like the genetics of the planet in him, and General Zod, part of his, the story was that he's going to, he wants to rebuild Krypton, but he says, hey, fuck it, we have to destroy the Earth first so we can rebuild a Krypton on top of them. And, when you really think about it, I mean, okay, yeah, it was his job to, Superman protected Earth, and General Zod could have easily made a planet elsewhere. But, General Zod, he was saying, General Zod really wasn't the bad guy. He was the guy who was trying to bring back his race. I mean, if the human race died and it was just you and another person, if it was just you and me, Paul, and,
right.
and I had the genetics in me, so we can start rebuilding our race. And I said, no, fuck you, I'm not going to do it. I'm the dick. You know what I'm saying? Superman's kind of a dick when you think about it. And it was one of those deals where, if you really watch the movie again, General Zod's not really a bad guy. He's just doing his job, for one thing, because they kind of push it where people, when they're genetically, the ones that are born not naturally, you kind of get pre-programmed. So General Zod is pre-programmed to be like a general. He's pre-programmed to be a person that defends Krypton. So he's like, well, shit, the whole planet's blown up. You and I are the last Kryptonians. I need your fucking DNA so we can, rebuild our, I mean, I know there's other Kryptonians floating around. I think there are other Kryptonians in the Phantom Zone, which, I think they can use for later movies. But, basically Joe Quesada said General Zod really isn't the villain in that movie. And he kind of has a point there. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they should have just, held Superman down, jerked him off. And
what is it with you and jerking off? Jesus Christ!
He should have fapped off, then get it in a cup and then say, "Okay, I'll see you later," and kept it moving. But yeah. So but then again, if you think about it, people from Krypton, the story, before we leave this subject, people from Krypton, because of our yellow sun, our yellow sun, are stronger because of the yellow sun. Superman can breathe in outer space, or Superman doesn't need to breathe; he's in outer space. He could have General Zod could have easily said, okay, let's take the DNA and we'll populate the moon, and we'll have a whole new Krypton on the moon, or Mars, or Venus, or any other fucking planets on our solar system, because those people don't need an atmosphere. They're already super. They got the yellow sun. They can fucking just do super shit if they wanted to. But I digress. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Jesus, you got to go on all these tangents. Jesus,
I'm just saying,
But anyways, Son of Batman, that comes out May 6th.
I'm sorry, real quick. I'm sorry. One more thing.
I'm gonna kill you, I swear.
on top of it's also been rumored that Jason Momoa is going to be cast as Aquaman. And if you don't, did you watch Game of Thrones at all?
No, I don't.
Oh.
No.
Well, he's this big muscular guy, and if you've seen it, he's like this big muscular guy with he's supposed to be this badass warrior with long hair and a long beard and eye makeup. But this guy's a fucking big hulking dude, which I guess they're gonna go, if they do cast him, they're going for in my mind, Aquaman has always been kind of thin and everything like that. But I guess they're going for more well, shit, if you're gonna be swimming underwater at 50,000 fathoms and there's all this pressure, you're gonna be strong. So I just want to throw that out there, that they're rumored that Jason Momoa from Game of Thrones is gonna be cast as him, which I think if they're going for the more buff cut fucking Aquaman is a good idea. But okay, go on with our, I guess what would be our announcement for our next episode?
Yes. We're gonna be doing a commentary about Son of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And but I kind of want to just talk about Son of Batman because I actually have done a review. I have the Blu-ray DVD for all of you, so haha. Yeah, fuck you, Chris. Anyways, basically, to me, it was a good movie. Action wise, and you guys are if you're into action, you're into blood, and you like a more adult Batman movie, this is for you.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with this movie, and I'm not trying to hate on it or anything, is that you go into this movie, if nobody's read The Son and I think it's called Batman and Son. Batman and Son is the graphic novel that it's based off of.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't read that, you go into this, being which I haven't read it, and you go into this and you're like, okay. Can you give me a little bit of backstory, a little bit of flashback about, what happened? I mean, I was talking to somebody the other day that I worked with, and he's saying to me, he's like, well, what are they supposed to do? Sit there and tell you about, or show you a scene of Batman and Talia screwing? And I'm like, no, we already know that Batman and Talia had sex. We get that. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to see, okay, how did she seduce him, for number one? Mm-hmm. Show that, don't say it, show it. Number two, then show me a little bit of backstory on Damian. How did he grow up? Because we don't, up to this point, we just have bits and pieces. And if you haven't read the graphic novel, all you're doing is you're getting these bits and pieces, and you're like, okay, and you're getting more questions now. Well, how does he know how to do this? How does he know how to do this? Yeah, I know he got trained by the League of Assassins, but was he trained the same way as everybody else, or was he trained differently because he was Ra's al Ghul's grandson and Talia's kid? What other things was he taught? And we don't see that. And that's kind of where I want to be just the movie is 74 minutes long, and I would like to see them take maybe 10 more minutes and just explain a little bit, and I think that definitely would have upped my score if I saw a lot more of that, because it does kind of hurt Damian's character development. And because you've seen it, I mean, it's okay, fine, yeah, he's a dick. We all know that because obviously that's been explained in all the previews and everything. But why is he such a dick? I mean, he comes into Bruce Wayne's house and he's like, oh, this isn't what I'm used to. He had better surroundings, and it's okay, why don't you show me the environment that he grew up in? No. You know, you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
And I think kind of, and I didn't mention this in my review, and it'll be coming out soon, hopefully. It seemed like the relationship at first between Batman and his son was kind of dry, a little bit dry. Like, I'm just professional. Do you know what I mean? Like, you saw it. It kind of feels like, oh, I have a son. That's great. If I had a son, I don't care if I'm a fucking superhero or not. I'm gonna be like, can you give me a minute? I'm just gonna go outside, light a cigarette, and I don't smoke. So, you know, I don't know. It wasn't a bad movie, but there was elements about it. If they had done just a little tweaking, it would have been so much better. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I not only did I read the graphic novel, I actually reread it. I actually reread it before I watched it, just to kind of like refresh myself. And actually, it is you know, and I don't want to get into spoilers because we'll save that for the episode. But it is a whole different story than what they have. They basically they use the graphic novel for like inspiration, like little bits here and there. But it is its own, you know, it is a standalone story, which doesn't necessarily go with, but of course, you know, as you know, all characters kind of, you know, they change their past, or, you know, they, you know, retroactively what they call retcon, retroactive continuity, where they'll change a character's story or whatever. I mean, this is definitely retconned. It's not, you know, because one, you know, without spoiling too much, you know, Deathstroke is in the movie, and, you know, Deathstroke's origins have definitely been changed from what's more commonly known and popular in the DC. I think, you know, they wanted to make it its own little standalone deal, and I guess kind of get people into the idea that that Batman does have a son. And once again, you know, I'm going to save like all my big juicy bits for the actual episode. That's what I said. I'll save my big juicy bits for you.
Oh God.
Just for you, Paul. And but it is just, you know, not spoiling anything. It is kind of like a standalone. It is kind of its own story and not necessarily part of continuity. And so, you know, I mean, you know, and it was interesting, and I kind of like the fact that, you know, that of all the stories they can tell of Batman, that they took that one, because, you know, because then if you follow it, the stuff like in the future comics, I mean, it goes real deep. I mean, you know, there's comics out there with Damian Wayne and you know, the character from Batman Beyond. You know what I'm saying? There's a series out there where it's Damian Wayne as Batman, and Dick Grayson is Batman. Like, Dick Grayson takes the Batman role, and Damian Wayne is that Robin, you know. And then you know, I mean, this doesn't spoil the movie at all. In the comics, there's even stories where Damian Wayne becomes Batman in the future, and he kind of looks like Batman, but he's wearing like a trench coat, and it's a weird kind of combination. But, you know, it is like, if they really pursued it, it would be good. And, you know, and of course that kind of, if it's Damian Wayne in the future, kind of negates Batman Beyond. But, you know, if they played with it, you know what I'm saying, and saying, okay, look, this isn't part of continuity, but let's have fun with this, it would be a very decent series, because it is a Batman that is willing to kill, I guess would be, you know, without really spoiling it that much, you know. So I don't want to talk about it too much, because I have all these notes that I saved for the episode, and I don't want us to just be sitting there watching a movie and not talking.
Right. Well, we'll get into it later in the thing, but yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. We got a great episode coming up, though. So
yeah, we have a great episode coming up. Basically, it's going to make you want to go out and buy Batman, Son of Batman. Just a few more things I just wanted to bring up because I have them in my notes. Well, Spider-Man, like I said, we're recording this on the 1st. Spider-Man, the earliest showings start tonight here in Rochester. And of course, you know, for Rochester, Batman, you know, the big local newspaper up here is the Democrat and Chronicle. Spider-Man was on the cover of yesterday's newspaper. Because they had filmed scenes up here in Rochester, which, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure is the very beginning of the movie. I guarantee you the scene, I put money on it that the movie begins with the scene that's filmed in Rochester, which is the scene where it kind of introduces us to the Rhino character before he actually gets the exosuit or whatever you want to call it. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm not spoiling anything, but just from what I've seen and from commercials and stuff like that, it's, you know, it's a chase with trucks and police cars and all this craziness, and Spider-Man, you know, so I guarantee you, I will put money on it that that's how the movie begins. Like, it kind of probably drops you right into a scene. But the funny thing is, you know, for 2 weeks, which they were almost exactly this time last year when they were filming, you know, the town had Spider-Man fever. And, you know, there were people who were extras, you know, and paid to be extras. And trust me, I signed up. There was like a petition, like, to try to get people to be extras. I signed that up. So these people were there every day. And of course, they're probably going to be in the movie for fucking a blink of an eye, but they had to, everyone's pointing up to the sky because in the movie, everyone points to the sky to see Spider-Man. So one of the theaters here in Rochester, or just outside Rochester in the town of Henrietta, they are having an exclusive screening.
They did. They had it last night, actually.
Oh, it was last night. Okay.
Yep.
For all the people that were extras in the movie.
And some of the politicians, too.
Which I thought was pretty funny. I mean, obviously this was part of, it's no secret that, they filmed this in New York. They're getting gigantic New York tax breaks. And, since, obviously it takes place in New York City, but, filming in Rochester kind of like, was good for the economy and all this other bullshit. So I just thought it was funny that the people who were extras who probably were in the movie for a fucking blink of an eye had their own personal screening where they all just point up in the air and go, point to the CGI Spider-Man in the sky. So, but like I said last episode, there was a stuntman dressed as dressed as Spider-Man. If it was dressed as Batman, it'd be awesome. It was a stuntman dressed as Spider-Man on top of a fucking police car, which was pretty fucking sick. So, Spider-Man fever has hit Rochester again, and I want to see it. I know people. I've heard not so good things, but fuck you, I'm going to see it anyway because I think I didn't like the first one, but I think this one they're upping the ante. So that's. I don't know if you had anything else. I have like two more things.
Of course you do.
I got two more. And it's funny though how it's kind of an announcement, but they haven't made it. I guess because they don't want to spoil too much. But I came across and I posted the picture on my Facebook. This actress Karen Gillan, who Doctor Who nerds will know, played the character Amy Pond. And the Doctor Who, like 2 seasons ago, who was this incredibly fuckable redhead, but actually she's shaved her head, or she's playing in the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy movie. This actress Karen Gillan is playing a character by the name of Nebula, who in the movie she's blue and she's bald. But the for a person like me who's read the Infinity Gauntlet series, which is what the Marvel Universe seems to be heading in that general direction. And we've had the Infinity Gauntlet in the background of Thor. We saw Thanos at the end of the Avengers. It's sort of coming up, and Nebula is the granddaughter of Thanos, and it is a very, very, very key character in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. And I guess maybe because they don't want to spoil too much about what happens in Infinity Gauntlet, but they are bringing in this character into the Guardians of the Galaxy movie, which for a person like me that has read the Infinity Gauntlet and fucking loves it, I'm like super excited. I'm like, why isn't this a bigger fucking news? But basically, when you go to watch Guardians of the Galaxy, pay attention to Nebula, because I'm pretty sure stuff that she does is going to be echoed in later movies. I just want to throw that out there, and I'm not spoiling anything. But just keep an eye on her. They've kind of it's not really a spoiler or release that the Godzilla movie is going to be having other monsters in the movie, and then people had speculated and they show little teeny tiny glimpses of it in the trailer. There is a trailer that's been shown in Asia right now, and that they show more of it, and it is a weird kind of bat flying character, I guess would be the best way to put it. So it's not going to be just Godzilla. There are other monsters, and then of course the big huge obviously it's not just bullshit, because they've announced like the release of the toy of the flying bat monster thing in Godzilla. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they're gearing up for all the merchandise and stuff like that. So, they kind of spoil the design. It's not really a surprise because you could see what it looks like when the toy comes out, but it doesn't have a name. It's not based on any other character that has existed so far in the Godzilla universe from what I've read. It's kind of its own new thing, but it's, like I said, I think, it doesn't look that cool, but who knows? Maybe I think it's just there to kind of like, oh, well, Godzilla isn't our only problem. We got flying bat things in the air. So just wanted to throw that out. Also, they showed the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trailer, which looks exactly like the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle trailer, except like a glimpse of Shredder, a glimpse of Splinter, and you get to see the turtles a little more. I really don't have a problem with. Okay, I have a problem with the way the faces look, but with all the accessories, because they're walking around with like fucking tons of shit on them. And one of the, I think it was Leonardo, actually has like cameras and all this shit like mounted on his shell. I don't think it's a bad thing. It looks kind of cool. I don't know. I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna fucking see it. Let's fucking be real here. You know, we could sit here and talk shit all day. I'm gonna fucking go see it. I'll probably come back and say it sucked, but hey, I'm gonna go see it. So it looks interesting enough. And that's pretty much all I got.
Are you sure now?
I'm sure. Well, I got some more things with it. Oh no!
No.
Yeah, Free Comic Book Day. I told you.
You already said that. We already said this.
Well, I wanted to. Okay, Free Comic Book Day. I just wanted to announce the comics. Archie Digest #1. The Bongo Free for All. Bongo is basically the Simpsons comics and all the Simpsons related comics. DC, the New 52, Future End, which kind of touches upon Batman Beyond. Batman Beyond is actually on the cover. Avatar: The Last Airbender, also sharing an issue with that is Hellboy and something called Juice Squeezers, which I've never heard of. Guardians of the Galaxy, Hello Kitty, well, come on. Kaboom, which is, its own company. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Rise of the Magi, which I'm not familiar with. SpongeBob SquarePants, Transformers versus G.I. Joe, comic. This is all Free Comic Book Day. Walt Disney's Scrooge and Donald Duck, and it says Gravity. I don't get what that is. 2000 AD special, for those who don't know, 2000 AD was it's the world where Judge Dredd came from. The Adventures of Jellyby, never heard of it. Rocket Raccoon, All You Need to Do Is Kill. I don't know. All You Need Is Kill. I don't know what that is. Atomic Robo and Friends, Buck Rogers, Defend Comics, Courtney Crimlin, I have no idea what that is. Entropy, Epic Zero, Fubar Ace of Spades, The Giant Size, Grim Fairy Tales, Hip Hop Family Tree, Les Miserables, Anime, Les Miserables, Magic Wind. Okay, this is longer than I thought it was going to be. Scratch 9. Okay, wow. This Smurfs, The Tick. I'll just name the ones that we know. The new Teen Titans Go, which I know we're not excited about, and Zombie Tramp. And there's a couple more in there, but I just skipped them. Okay, I just wanted to bring that up. And please visit 2s1p.com, where you can find all things show related. First and foremost, you can find links to our iTunes page. So if somehow you came across this and your friend shared it on Facebook, you can find our iTunes. You can link and subscribe. If you have an iPhone, iPad, iPod. If not, you could go to the iTunes store. Just click on the upper right tab that says podcast. Search for Two Strangers One Podcast to see our beautiful red, white, and blue logo, and you can subscribe to us there. And you could also download every single past episode. Over 2 years, Paul. Over 2 fucking years of Two Strangers One Podcast. You can come and download. You can say, what was Chris?
You can come, right?
Or you can come. You can jerk off while listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. Just don't do it on the bus because they throw you off. Now, that being said, like I said, over 2 years, you can go back and say, hey, what was Chris thinking about 2 years ago? So you can go back and hear what I had to say. Not that you care about what I have to say today, but you can see. That being said, okay, now if you don't have an iPhone, iPad, iPod, you could also listen to us on the Stitcher app if you have an Android device, like an Android phone. The Galaxy S phones are wonderful phones. Or an Android tablet or an Android netbook or any of those devices, or a Kindle Fire. You can download us on the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER, where basically you could hear our most recent 6 episodes, and whenever a new episode comes out, it downloads any podcast worth listening to. Chris Hardwick's The Nerdist, Kevin Smith's Smodcast, This American Life, Adam Carolla, who's the other? Mark Maron, and of course the Tanami Faithful podcast. They're all available on the Stitcher app. It's what I use. And what I think is pretty awesome about their stuff is that even if you're at home and you're on your Wi-Fi network, you can download the episodes while you're at home on your Wi-Fi network because you're busy at home doing your own things. You download the episodes, and while you're out and you're driving your car or you're taking the bus to work or whatever the case may be, you're out going for a jog, or even while you're having sex with your partner, you can listen to all those podcasts without having to be on the Wi-Fi network, without having to use up all your data on your phone. You can listen to them on the Stitcher app. That's STITCHER. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/2strangers1podcast, all spelled out. Once again, we've had some activity on the page. Unfortunately, when I had purchased advertising space on Facebook, I didn't realize that they basically hire people to like your page, and then all those people are uninterested parties, and it ruins it for the people that are interested parties. So the more activity that's on the page, the more our posts get spread around. And of course, even if you don't have one dime to give to the show and you want to just give us some bit of support, just share us. It takes 2 seconds to share us. Say, hey, listen to this episode. Hey, listen, or you can just share the whole page and say, hey, listen to this podcast in general. That's one way to spread the word. And especially if you have a friend that has a lot of money, share it with them. Let them know. Say, hey, pay attention to these guys. They're funny. After that, let me see what else. You can email us at twostrangersonepodcast, all spelled out, at gmail.com. We haven't had any emails recently, but that's we're working on it. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow us at Stranger Podcast. That little A with the circle around it, whatever the fuck that's called, at Stranger Podcast. Let me see. And then I don't know. I'm still I'm hoping Monkey Nuts will love me.
We'll see what we can have.
I love. She's so hot. I would drive down to Pittsburgh or wherever the hell she lives. I mean, I know she's in that general area. So, Monkey Nuts, please love me. And if you want to go out on a date, I guess this is me officially asking you on the air. So
wow.
Let's see how.
All right, I'm gonna tell her to listen to this. I'm gonna tell her to listen to this.
Don't tell her. Let's see if she just finds it.
Okay.
And if you do, I love you and I want to marry you. No.
Oh.
Well, okay. Let's go out on a date first. I'll drive on it's only like a 4-hour drive. I'll go.
All right, let me get into my stuff. You can find me on Twitter at Paul Pascrillo. You can also find me on Tumblr. It's paulpascrillo.tumblr.com. I wrote a nice article about Motor City and how I think that may end up on Toonami based on the interview that we had. So check it out there. Please do, because it's really good. I think I did a really good job of saying, hey, this could be a possibility. I don't know that's the possibility, and no, I don't have any information. I'm
speculation. Yeah.
And I even put a disclaimer at the top that says that. So, and then also, obviously, you can find me on the Toonami Faithful podcast when I'm not working. So make sure that you guys listen to the new episode with Megas XLR. The guys from there, it's hilarious. I'm not going to spoil anything, but they just are.
They're just a bunch of funny guys, man.
I should have known when they showed that picture of all their alcohol and liquor. I was just like, oh god.
It's
but
a fun episode.
I'm not gonna spoil anymore.
I mean, it's and once again, not spoiling, but that episode, it feels like you're sitting in a room with your friends, like you're sitting in a room talking to your friends, because these guys are so cool. They're incredibly talented. I mean, let's not take anything away from them. They're incredibly talented, and they've made art that we enjoy and we love. But you're talking to them, and it's not like these guys sitting up on a pedestal looking down on the fucking peasants. When you listen to the episode, it feels like you're talking to friends. Talking to friends on Skype. I guess not necessarily in the same room because there was some technical problems. But it does feel like you're talking to people that you've known forever. And I guess that's why their art endures, because it really does. They are fanboys. You know what I'm saying? That they do work that appeals to fanboys because they themselves are genuine fanboys. And of course, I love everything they do. I haven't seen any of the Turbo stuff, but that's because I don't have friggin' Netflix. But I look forward to watching it. Maybe I'll get it for my daughter, since it's probably more for her demographic. But okay, so I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, that's it. That's basically all I have to say. Oh, and the podcast is now going to be posted on geekyinc.com. So if you don't, you can also find it there. It'll be posted on all of our social feeds. So make sure you check out the podcast, because now you have no fucking excuse.
Yeah, and also, I mean, you kind of mentioned this, but I think it would be a good idea if there are any. I mean, I said it as a joke. If there are any like aspiring rappers or anything like that, nerdcore style rappers, anybody who wants to do something Megas XLR related. I mean, because obviously you have all the other Nerdcore Absolution and what was the other one? Nerdcore Absolution and Nerdcore. What was the first one you had? Oh no, Nerdcore. I'm sorry. So did I lose you, Paul?
No, I'm still here.
Okay. if there's anybody, or if you know anybody, or if maybe this will inspire you, if you know anybody that will do a Megas XLR song, I mean, we would both be fucking jacked to hear it, and anybody who's, I'm just throwing it out there for anybody listen that is into that kind of stuff. If someone was to do a serious song about Megas XLR, but like in that nerdcore style rap, shit, I'll take a heavy metal song also. But I mean, I would like to hear it. So if you're that kind of person and you have those kind of creative talents, fucking get on it, man. So
I think that's it.
That's about it. We certainly hope you guys enjoyed listening and had as much fun as we did recording. Thank you for listening to Two Strangers One Podcast. I'm Chris.
I'm Paul.
Don't be a stranger.
Peace. We're out.
Why? You should be fapping
On my dick.
when you're looking at pictures of monkey nuts.
Oh, God.